In this lesson, Dr. Covey will discuss involving others in your goals. As you watch this, ask yourself if you are working on the private victory as well as the public victory. Which of your goals could be more empowering as we goals?
Now, the public victory represents the next three habits. And that's where you involve other people. That's why having this small team, that you're accountable to, or a group of friends or family that you're accountable to, becomes so vital and so important. Because sometimes when you know you're accountable to somebody, you'll do something that otherwise you wouldn't do, simply because you want to keep your commitment to that person. I used to do a lot of running, and we would get up at 5:30 in the morning to run. By we, I mean me and my neighbor. My neighbor friend and I committed to each other. 5:30 every morning, we would meet in the park between our two homes. And I didn't want to do that half the time, but I knew he was going to be there. And he told me he didn't want to do it half the time, but neither of us knew when the other half the time was for the other person. So we always met. You imagine the impact that had? The control that gave us over our life? And the feeling of that control applying to other areas of life? With your children, with your wife, with your friends? That's what happens. These things are connected. You cannot separate body, mind, heart, and spirit. That's why I'm saying, take the connected approach. Now, the heart deals with this whole spirit of win-win. See, we had a win-win relationship. My friend and I, doing that running early in the morning. It was win-win. He would win, I would win. It felt like lose-lose half the time, but it really wasn't. It really was win-win. We also listened to each other, seek first to understand, then to be understood. We understood each other's situation. Then we finally came up with what we called a synergistic goal. A we goal, not a my goal. That we were going to help each other get into shape and get control of our lives and apply that in every other aspect of our life. The difference between a we goal and a me goal is the difference between the private victory, the me goal, establishing it, begin with the end in mind, then putting that first. Putting first things first, that's important to you. And a we goal, the spirit of win-win, with your friends, your team, your work group, your study group, your spouse, your children, is the difference between the private victory and the public victory. And honestly, you'll find over time, until you have won the private victory, you will lose the public victory. When push comes to shove and people start thinking win-lose around you, they're in for themselves, they're into me goals, you'll have a tendency to do the same thing. Or you'll capitulate and go for lose-win. You'll become a martyr. Both win-lose and lose-win end up as lose-lose. Long run, they do. But a we goal that has come from mutual understanding, habit 5. Look at that chart again. Look at that diagram. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. So there's mutual understanding. You know what that does? It will always produce synergy. Synergy means the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Synergy is the fruit. Habit 4, the spirit of win-win, of mutual benefit, of mutual respect. And habit 5, of mutual understanding, through communication, through listening to each other genuinely, are the roots. Fruit, habit 6. Roots, 4 and 5. In fact, in life, public and private victories are going on continuously all the time. Challenges, both private and public, all the time they're going on. You'll know that you have accomplished a certain level of private victory when you're able to, in a very difficult moment, listen to another person genuinely when you really want to be understood. You'll know that you have accomplished a certain level of a private victory when you genuinely feel respect for another person and want them to win in some way. You don't see life as a contest. You'll know that you have achieved a private victory when in the interaction between people you become extremely open to each other's influence and you get very creative, meaning synergistic, because synergy is not cooperation, it's creative cooperation. That means you're producing new options, new alternatives. You'll know that you've achieved a certain level of a private victory when you can achieve that. So when you're establishing your goals, I encourage you to join with other people and to be accountable to them so that they can encourage you, support you, affirm you, validate you, and you can do the same thing for them. They may be the same goals as with my friend out running at 5:30 in the morning when it was dark and cold. See, we had the same goal, but sometimes you don't have the same goals. That small study group in my university classes, they all had different goals, but they shared them, they were open to each other, they became authentic, they became real, they talked to each other genuinely. They thought out loud in each other's presence. It didn't happen overnight. It took time, but it happened. It's a natural progress. You get the roots going, you'll get the fruits. Now, when you get this kind of accountability, support, affirmation toward your goals, toward what you're trying to do in the private victory, I'll tell you, you've got the supreme process going. You've got such social affirmation, such validation, that it is really exhilarating. And you get a group spirit going, a real team spirit. You're happy for each other's successes. You're thrilled for each other's successes. You're involved in each other's successes. Why? You're giving accountability to each other on a regular basis. These represent the public victory activities. We'll go much deeper into this at a later time. I just want to put together how these 7 habits join together to enable you to set and accomplish a worthy goal. And I encourage you 4 of them, 1 for each part of your nature.
In this lesson, Dr. Covey discussed involving others in your goals. Have you thought of some of your peers who could help you with your goals? Do you feel ready for the public victory? In the Think section of this lesson, we will help you assess your progress in the private victory in preparation for the public victory.